Hare Krishna, we'll give it 2-3 more minutes and then we'll get started. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. My humble obeisance to all the Vaishnavas on the call. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo vacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. पूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कवितावनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानादं कौनयाते परां गतिम्। वेदवेद्ये परिपुंसे जाते दशरथात्मजे वेदः प्राचेतसाद् आसीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना। अञ्जनानन्दनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षान्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। आञ्जनेयमदिपाटनालनं काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि भवमाननन्दनम्। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं भाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्। जयत्राशतसन्त्रासध्वान्तविध्वांसनोदयः प्रभावान् सीतया देव्या परमव्योमभास्करः। श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं श्रीराम नाम वरानने. We are in Yuddha Kanda. We are about to, in a few sessions, end Yuddha Kanda. Of course, this session we won't be ending, but we'll take maybe 2 more or 3 more sessions, depends on the details that we have to cover. But we are in the fag end of the Yuddha Kanda, at least that's the good news. So Yuddha Kanda, the theme is the efforts taken by the Lord to retrieve the Jivas. It begins with the warm embrace of Ram and Hanuman. Ram hears the message that Sita is in Lanka. They prepare to cross the ocean. They march towards the ocean. And meanwhile, the situation in Lanka is tense, and Ravan is having a meeting with his ministers to figure out how to handle the situation. And that particular day, Vibhishan was giving some very good counsel to Ravan, but then Ravan wouldn't listen. And Kumbhakarna, he was awake and he also gave a similar counsel. But Kumbhakarna said, "It's okay, whatever you may do, I will always be on your side." But however, Vibhishan, he doesn't like what Ravana is doing and he moves on and he goes and surrenders to Lord Ramachandra. And we saw Vibhishan Sharanagati in very, very great detail. And we heard the very beautiful vow that Lord Ramchandra had taken. Sakradeva Prapannaya Tavasmi iti chayachate abhayam sarvabhutebhya dadami etadvratham mama. So Lord Ramachandra, he gives protection to Vibhishan, and Vibhishan is crowned as the king of Lanka even before the ocean was crossed. Then he wanted to cross the ocean, so he asks Vibhishan for a good idea, and Vibhishan tells him, do Sharanagati to the ocean. But then that Sharanagati was a grand failure because only people should be doing Sharanagati to the Lord. The Lord should not be doing Sharanagati to someone insignificant. And then, of course, Ocean God tells him how he can build a bridge. And the beautiful Ram Setu is constructed in a very technical manner, as described in the Valmiki Ramayana, that they built it in layers. And we saw many associated stories. They cross the ocean, and then Ram is seeing all sorts of bad omens. And meanwhile, they camp in the Suvela mountain, and the war is announced to happen. We saw some little stories about how some messengers are sent, and then and some interactions between the messengers and Lord Ram's army, how Ravan handles the messengers, etc. And then Ravan, when he hears the glories of Lord Ramachandra and his army, he decides to attack them mentally, and he sends Vidyut Jihva to create a trick, and he tries to fool Sita that Ram is already killed. And Vidyut Jihva creates an illusory head and a bow, and Sita is very mentally tormented. But then Sarama consoles her, and she goes and she tries to find out what's happening in the palace. Meanwhile, in the palace, she sees that Kaikasi, who's the mother of Ravan, also advises Ravan to give away Sita. Even his uncle Malyavan also tells him the same, but then Ravan stays adamant. Both Ram as well as Ravan, they decide on the specific army formation, and before, when they're just about to get ready before the war begins, the previous day night, Sugriva, he gets very upset with Ravan, and suddenly he jumps off the Suvela mountain onto the Trikuta mountain, and he starts fighting with Ravan. The next day morning, the war is certain, and they all take positions. And for the final time, Ramchandra sends Angada as the messenger, and Angada gives the message of Ram, but Ravan is not ready to budge. And then the war is certain, and the war commences. And the war goes on day in and day out. And on the very first day, we saw the story of how the Nagastra was released, and both Ram and Lakshman, they got struck by the Nagastra. And later, Garuda comes and relieves them. And in the meanwhile, Sita was also tormented, and she's taken in the Pushpak Viman to show the condition of Ram and Lakshman. And Sarama tells her that actually nothing has happened to them. Of course, Garuda comes and he relieves both Ram and Lakshman, and then they become completely normal because all their wounds are healed, and the second day of the battle continues. In the second day of the battle itself, we saw that Ram and Ravan actually have a face-to-face war. And Ravana was proving to be a great warrior on that particular day. He shot even the Agnyastra at Neela, and then even Lakshman was struck, and the great brother of Bharata fell down. And who was Lakshman? Ravan was not able to move Lakshman by an inch, but then Hanuman was able to carefully take him to safety. Ramchandra is very upset, and he starts shooting terrible arrows at Ravan, and Ravan is actually struck down. But Ramchandra gives him a chance. He says, it's okay, you go and come back tomorrow. So he gives him a chance. Ravana contemplates, he thinks about his situation, and then Ravana has this very crazy idea. I mean, of course, he comes up with a very crazy idea that if at this point in time I'm not able to handle Ram and I've been thrown out of the battlefield, then it is only my brother Kumbhakarna who has to be suddenly awakened. Though it was not the scheduled, stipulated time for Kumbhakarna to get awakened, still by force he's brought into the battlefield. And Kumbhakarna, when he's walking towards Ravana's assembly, the Vanara spot him because of his huge figure. and they ask Vibhishan, who's this? What is this? What kind of Rakshasa is he? And Vibhishan tells Ramachandra, tell your Vanara Sen that it is a machine, it is a yantra. Don't tell them that he's a Rakshasa, otherwise your Vanara Sen will get demotivated. He's actually the brother of Ravan. And listening to Vibhishan's instructions, all the Vanaras are informed it's just a machine, so handle him like a machine. Anyhow, Kumbhakarna, he enters the battlefield after a good meal, and we saw how the details of how he fought that particular day, and finally how Kumbhakarna was struck by Ram, and finally he dies. So, hearing this news, Ravan is in great distress. And then on the second day evening, actually, Kumbhakarna, he entered the battlefield. And on the second day night itself, more demons are sent by Ravan, who is very demotivated after the death of his brother. He sends Mahodara, Trishira, and so many other Narantaka, and so on, so many other demons, and even his own son, Atikaya. We saw about this particular son. He was also huge, like Kumbhakarna. Even Atikaya goes in, and then many of these demons are killed. Late in the night on the second day, after Atikaya is killed, Ravan has nobody. So he calls Indrajit. And he tells Indrajit, I have all my hopes only on you. And Indrajit, in the late night, he releases the Brahmastra. So when the Brahmastra is released, everybody falls down except for a few of them. Who are they? Vibhishan and Hanuman. They both are alive and they go around holding torches to see if anyone else is awake, and they spot Jambavan. They spot Jambavan, the old bear, who's the son of Brahma, who cannot be affected by the Brahmastra. Vibhishan and Hanuman had wounds that the Brahmastra cannot do anything to them. And then when they're trying to wake up Jambavan, Jambavan's first question is Hanuman alive? He doesn't question if Ramchandra or Lakshman is alive, but he asks, is Hanuman alive? And Vibhishan is very startled and he asks, why do you ask such a question? You didn't even ask about Ram or Lakshman or even Sugriv for that matter. Rather, you're asking about Hanuman. And that is when Jambavan tells Vibhishan, I'm inquiring about Hanuman because only if Hanuman is surviving, all of us can be saved. But if Hanuman is killed, then all of us are as good as dead. And then Hanuman is asked to bring the herbs from the mountain. He tells that you have to go to this Mount Rishabha that is there in the Himalayan range, and it is between you have to go to Mount Aushadhagiri, which is between Mount Rishabha and Mount Kailash, and you bring that herbal, certain herbs. He gives a list of 4 herbs, and the 4 herbs are Mrita Sanjeevani, Vishalya Karani, Suvarna Karani, and Sandhani. So he talks about these 4 herbs that are capable of doing different treatments, and he sends Hanuman with some identification. But our Hanuman is not a botany student, so he's not able to identify anything, and he's very upset. But he uses his intelligence and he takes the entire mountain peak and he flies across Bharatavarsha. And as he's coming into the battlefield itself, all the Vanaras and everyone else who's lying on the battlefield, by the smell of the herbs as the mountain is coming towards them itself, they all wake up. That was the potency of the herbs. And then there is a small thing here that what happened to the demons? Did all the demons also wake up? The answer is no, because the demons' bodies were not in the battlefield. They were all disposed immediately. Ravan thought he's very intelligent. He didn't want to show the rate of his losses. Because he thought that it is an insult for him to display the number of demons who are dead in the battlefield. So what did he do? He picked up he ensured that all the bodies of the demons who fall down are picked up, and what is done to them? They are all disposed in the ocean. So because they were deep inside the ocean, they did not smell the herbs, and hence they were not revived. Whereas those who had fallen down in the battlefield were all revived, who were the Vanaras. And the second day night itself, Lanka was set on fire by all these Vanaras to take revenge. And then Ravan is again upset and he sends Makaraksha to the battlefield, who was the son of Kara. And Makaraksha's army goes, and then they are all destroyed. And then Ravan, he tells Indrajit, now I'm left only with you. So you have to do something. So day 3 and day 4 was an illusory battle created by Indrajit. Indrajit was doing this illusory warfare from hidden in the skies, and it was a very, very terrible situation for Ram's army. They were finding it very difficult to handle him. And Ram was discussing with Lakshman on various ways as to how to catch him. We have to first catch him. We have to see where he is and identify his location. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for us to handle this guy. It's been 2 days and he's been doing illusory warfare. And on day five, Ravan, he was very, very upset. He was thinking about how Kumbhakarna and so many others were killed, and he told he had decided that Indrajit should be even more strong and even more furious. So Indrajit, he came up with an idea of preparing another conjuring trick. So he created an image of Sita and he put it on the chariot, and he took the image of Sita on the battlefield and he acted like as if he's severing her top to bottom in a diagonal fashion. And in front of Hanuman, he did this, and Hanuman was completely shocked. And Hanuman went running and he reported the matter to Lord Ramachandra. And Ramachandra didn't understand anything. He was completely shattered and he was weeping. And then, of course, Vibhishan comes and tells him that don't get so upset with all this. This is all Indrajit's tricks. And Indrajit really will not destroy Sita in any way, simply because Ravan is very attached to her in a lusty way. So nothing would have happened. And Vibhishan also found out the reason why he created this illusory trick on day five. It is simply because he wanted to divert the attention of Ram and the Vanara so that he could go to Nikumbila. And that's a place where he performs a great sacrifice. If he performs a great sacrifice towards that Devi, he comes out victorious, and there is a certain mark in that area, the banyan tree. If he crosses that banyan tree and he comes with his chariot, then nobody can do anything to him. That is the boon that he had received. So Vibhishan, he tells Ram, this is not the time to sit and lament. Nothing has happened to Sita. Rather, you should give us permission, and some of us, headed by Lakshman, we should go to that place where he's performing this Nikumbala sacrifice. And that way we can stop him. And only if we stop him, we will be saved. So that is the first action that we should do. So Vibhishan, Lakshman, and a few Vanaras headed by Hanuman, they all go to this place called Nikumbila, where he's performing the sacrifice. And hearing that the Vanaras were rushing towards him, Indrajit, he stopped that and he came out running, and he saw that they're going to attack him, and he started shooting arrows. This is where we have to continue from today. Okay. So this is today's class. So Indrajit, he saw that these Vanaras were actually coming. Lakshman, accompanied by Vibhishan, Angad, and Hanuman, they penetrated through an heterogeneous army of the enemies in the sanctuary of Nikumbila. This is where we stopped. So they started penetrating through that army that was guarded. It was actually guarded. The Nikumbila era was completely guarded by demons, and Indrajit began to perform the sacrifice. But then these Vanaras, Hanuman, Angada, headed by Vibhishan and Lakshman, they went inside that place, and Indrajit could hear this terrible noise that was created because of the fight that was happening between them and the remaining demons. And he stopped the sacrificial rite because he thought he'll be able to complete it. But hearing so much ruckus, he thought it is better he first goes, faces them, kills them once for all. So he gets up in the middle of a sacrificial rite and he enters the place, the battlefield where all of them were. And there, Indrajit, he saw Hanuman, and he tells his charioteer that take this chariot to that place, exact place where that terrible Hanuman is standing. Because if we neglect Hanuman, then he's going to kill all the demons, because Indrajit has already seen his power. Indrajit saw how Hanuman was fighting in various ways, not only in the battle, but also earlier to this, how he lit the entire city of Lanka on fire. So Indrajit, his target was Hanuman, and he began attacking Hanuman in various ways. And Hanuman, and since Hanuman was attacked by Indrajit, Vibhishan noticed this and he tells Lakshman, hey, Lakshman, look, that is Indrajit. He has come there and he's attacking Hanuman. Now it is in your hands because he felt that Lakshman is the one who can truly put an end to Vibhishan. So he calls Lakshman and he tells Lakshman, now it is in your hands. You should go. I've identified who Indrajit is. He's standing and he's fighting with Hanuman. So you go there and you put an end to him. And he says this Indrajit is not an ordinary person. Of course, he's a descendant of the great sage Pulatsya because Pulatsya's grandson is Ravan, whose great grandson is Indrajit. So he says he's got a great lineage. And actually, this Indrajit hasn't been conquered before. Actually, Indrajit was a bigger terror than Ravan. Okay, Ravan at least he had so many curses by which anyhow he will fall. But then Indrajit was literally, he was practically unconquerable. So he says he has even conquered Indra. So that is his power. Now it is up to you. You should go and fight with him. So Lakshman, he goes in the vicinity of Indrajit and he calls out, hey Indrajit, I'm inviting you for a fight. So come and give me a good battle. And when Indrajit saw Lakshman and he saw Vibhishan standing next to Lakshman, Indrajit got very, very angry. So this friction between Indrajit and Vibhishan has been there from a long time. Even in the assembly earlier, when Vibhishan left Ravan and went and did Sharanagati to Lord Ramchandra, that time also there was a big fight that happened between Indrajit and Vibhishan. Indrajit never liked Vibhishan and Vibhishan never approved of the activities of Indrajit. So he looks at his uncle and he tells, you're such, oh, demon uncle, oh, Rakshas uncle, what is the use of you being born in a Rakshas family? You're not at all like a Rakshas. You're not like one of us. And moreover, you know all my secrets. I was growing up in front of you. So you know all my secrets. And knowing my secrets, you have joined the opposite army and you're telling the leader of the opposite army, Ram and Lakshman, about all my secrets and you're bringing them here so that you can disturb my sacrifice when I'm doing the Nikumbala Yajna. Before I can complete it, you're coming and harming me. What kind of uncle are you? You're so hostile. You're hostile to your own son. You don't have any loyalty to your brother. You don't have loyalty to the family. You don't have loyalty to the Rakshasas. You're such a traitor. You're a betrayer. That is all you are. So then Vibhishan, he answers, he says, look, so much sins you both have done, your father Ravan and you. Both of them, you have too much quarrelsomeness, too much ill will, and you are fighting with everybody. You've got too many bad qualities. And what is the use of you talking to me like this? So he says, if you continue to behave like this Lanka will no longer exist. And he says, now you have to face Lakshman's arrows and you will not return alive with your army. So then Indrajit, he was very, very infuriated and he rushes towards Lakshman and he starts fighting with him. So Indrajit, he is fighting from his chariot. And of course, Lakshman didn't have a chariot. So Lakshman, he ascends the shoulders of Hanuman so that he can give a good fight. He pierces, this Indrajit is very excellent in warfare. So he begins piercing Lakshman with several arrows, and Lakshman is bleeding profusely. And Indrajit and Lakshman, they continue to fight. And Indrajit is also sort of speaking to Lakshman, telling him, don't you know how I have already defeated you earlier? You had fainted and all that. You forgot all that and you're trying to face me. So like this, he was trying to irritate Lakshman, but Lakshman continued to fight. And at one point, Indrajit, he struck Lakshman with 7 arrows and Hanuman with 10 arrows and Vibhishan with 100 arrows at the same time. So you can imagine his agility and prowess, how Indrajit was so skillful. So he struck Lakshman with 7, Hanuman with 10, and Vibhishan with 100 almost at the same time. And seeing this, Lakshman in retaliation, he drew his bow and he struck Indrajit with multiple arrows and he breaks Indrajit, the armor that Indrajit is wearing, into pieces. And Indrajit, who's angered now, he shoots 1,000 arrows and he breaks up Lakshman's armor. So, like this, a fierce fight went on for a very, very long time. And from time to time, Vibhishan joined the battle so that he could give some relief to Lakshman's fatigue. And he speaks, and he also, this Vibhishan was also trying to speak some encouraging words even to the Vanaras, telling them that they should continue the fight and they should not leave any of the demons. Then finally, what happened was this Lakshman, when he was fighting with Indrajit, this fight went on, and Lakshman finally picked the Bhalla arrow. This Bhalla arrow is sort of yellowish and it had I think it had a crescent shaped head. So he picks the Bhalla arrow and he shoots it towards Indrajit, severing his head from the trunk. So Indrajit, severing not Indrajit, sorry, Indrajit's charioteer's head, because Indrajit is still there, the charioteer's head. And Indrajit's charioteer was now killed. And Indrajit, seeing that his charioteer was killed, he himself begins to drive the chariot. And then again, they catch hold of their bows and arrows, and again they continue to fight. And four excellent Vanara chiefs who are Pramati, Rishabha, Sharabha, Gandhamadana, they join Lakshman's side and they actually kill Indrajit's horses and they completely destroy the chariot. And then Indrajit, he comes on his foot and he starts fighting with Lakshman. And gradually, Indrajit thought that this fight is going on for too long, and he moved away from Lakshman and he called out to two of his demoniac associates and he told them that it's going to get dark now. I'm not able to recognize who's on my side and who's on Lakshman's side. So he tells that you all fight, you all continue to fight and divert the Vanaras and Lakshman. Before they realize, I will go into the city and I will bring a new chariot. I don't want to continue standing like this and fighting. So Indrajit, he tries to divert Lakshman's attention by bringing in more warriors and they are all fighting with Lakshman and Lakshman gets diverted and Indrajit decides to go into the palace to bring a new chariot. And once he's back with the new chariot, he starts attacking all the Vanaras severely. And all the Vanaras, they go and take refuge of Lakshman. So Indrajit and Lakshman, again, they are back and they start continuing a battle by shooting arrows at each other. And this time, again, for the second chariot, Lakshman destroys the second chariot. And Indrajit, he strikes an arrow on the forehead of Lakshman, and Lakshman strikes 5 arrows at Indrajit's face. And then this Indrajit, he doesn't keep quiet. What he does is he again tries to attack Vibhishan. So Indrajit strikes Vibhishan with some arrows, and Vibhishan kills Indrajit's horses. So after a long fight, finally, this Lakshman decides that it's time to actually kill Indrajit because this fight has been going on the entire day. And Lakshman decides that I have to put an end to this Indrajit. And he chooses the Aindrastra that he has taken from Indra, empowered by Indra. So he picks the Aindrastra and he chants a particular verse to that Aindrastra. And it is only because of this particular verse that he chants that the Aindrastra gets the capability to chop off the head of Indrajit. So he says, Dharmatma Satyasandhascha Ramo Dhasharatiryadi Purushe cha paridvandvastad enam jahi Ravanam. Oh, my dear arrow, if Rama, the son of Dhasharath, has set his mind always on Dharma, Dharmatma Satyasandhascha, if Rama is Dharmatma and Satyasandhascha, if he keeps his promise, Satyasandhascha, and is second to no one in his prowess, Ramo Dhasharati Yadi Purushe Chaparadit. That means Ram, he has kept up his promise and there is no one equal to him in his power. Let him destroy, let this arrow destroy Indrajit. So he is speaking to the arrow and he's vowing, if, oh my dear arrow, if Ram, the son of Bhajarat, has always set his mind only of Dharma, And if he's always kept up his promise, and if he's second to nobody else in power, then you go now and destroy this Indrajit. So, saying like that, he draws up the arrow to his ear, and Lakshman releases it with full concentration towards Indrajit. And what happens? Obviously, he has cast a spell on that arrow, and that too he has vowed in the name of Ram. And of course, this Ram is always the speaker of truth, and his mind is always set on dharma. So 100%, the arrow has all the power, and it went and it hit the throat of Indrajit, and it separated his head from his trunk, and his head fell off. So, like this, when the head of Indrajit fell off, all the Vanaras together, they were rejoicing along with Vibhishan. This was a moment, it was a big moment to be celebrated, just like how Vritrasura was chopped off by Indra. It was a very, very big event. And there was a shout of victory from the sky. All the demigods, the sages, the Gandharvas, and the Apsaras, everybody were celebrating and seeing their prince had been killed by Lakshman. All the demons, they started running towards the city of Lanka. So they got very scared and they went to Lanka, and some of them, they were so scared and startled that some of them even ran, and while running they were falling into the ocean, and some of them were taking refuge in the mountain, and so on. So like this, they had left in different directions. So Indrajit was a big terror to the world. He was finally fallen by the arrow released by Lakshman. And of course, Lakshman had vowed on the name of Ram. So obviously, it is Ram and Lakshman together who actually killed Indrajit. So now everybody was happy. And finally, the Brahmanas, they were thinking that this Indrajit is all done, and now we can even perform our duties without the hindrance of Indrajit. And Vibhishan, Hanuman, Jambavan, all of them were pleased, and they all went and applauded Lakshman for this great feat. And they all started saying Jai Lakshman, Jai Lakshman, Jai Lakshman. So like that, they were all lashing their tails and shouting victory words, glorifying Lakshman. And Lakshman, he had fought the entire day, and it was not an easy fight, that too with someone like Indrajit. And it was not at all easy, and his entire body was pierced with arrows, and he was soaked with blood from top to bottom without an inch space. So much blood was flowing out of his body. He was not even able to stand. He was in such a terrible situation, and Vibhishan and Hanuman were holding him because he was not even able to walk. You know, his hands, legs, everything filled with wounds from the arrows. So he had one hand on the shoulder of Vibhishan and another hand on the shoulder of Hanuman, and he was literally limping, and he was dragged by Vibhishan and Hanuman, and he was taken in the vicinity of Lord Ram. And Hanuman and Vibhishan, they announced the death of Indrajit in the hands of Lakshman. Ram was so delighted. He called his dear brother and he said, "Well done, my dear brother. Such a difficult task has been done by you. It is such a great victory for us." He pulled his brother and placed him on his lap, and he smelled his head, and he told him, "You're so wonderful. You've done such a great feat." And Lakshman, he was feeling so much humility, and he did not want to hear himself being praised by Ram like that. But then Ram put him on his lap with so much affection. He embraced him and he glanced upon him so affectionately, smelling his head again and again. He was trying to pacify the wounds that were there on his body. Lakshmana was breathing so hard. He was affected by the pain that the arrows had caused, and Ramachandra was caressing him so that all this pain can vanish. He tells, you have done such a great task. Indrajit has been killed by you. Hmm. Actually, now that Indrajit has been killed, Ravan is as good as dead because Ravan has nobody. He fought with us for 3 days and 3 nights, and you managed to kill Indrajit after such a long fight. So now I've been made free from enemies. And he says Ravan will soon come to the battlefield and the final war will happen between Ram and Ravan. Then he called Sushena, and who's the doctor. and he tells him that Sushena, this Lakshman is wounded terribly. He's in a very bad state. He has to be restored to proper health. He also tells that not only him, there are so many other Vanaras and the bears who are all pierced and wounded and were in a terrible condition. So we have to ensure that medicine is given to them. So Sushena, because he's a doctor, he gave some excellent medicine through the nose of Lakshman, and inhaling the odor of the herbs, Lakshman became healed of the wounds and free from pains, and his wounds were completely cured. So also the other companions of Vibhishan and the Vanaras and the bears, all of them were also treated. And then the wounds were healed, the fatigue was gone, and his feverishness and all that pain that he was going through, it was cured. And Lakshman was restored to his original strength and vigor. He felt very rejuvenated, and Ram and Sugriv were very, very happy. Okay, so now Indrajit is taken care of. Now, when the news that Indrajit is dead went to Ravan, Ravan was very shocked. Very shocked. He never expected this because he thought Indrajit will just continue forever. And he was totally distressed. He just couldn't believe that Indrajit was no more. He was crying so much. Hot, angry tears were flowing from his eyes, and it was like blazing lamps. And he was doing this kata 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 with his teeth. Kata kata shcha. He was just biting his teeth, and his eyebrows were knitted together. He was very angry, and some of the demons were around him. They got frightened looking at Ravana's reactions, and they went and they hid behind the screens. So, like this, Ravan, he started screaming. He was telling, give that, I have to go and get that large bow of mine that was given to me long, long time ago by Lord Brahma. He had acquired a huge bow that would give him victory in many battles. So he says, Brahma had long time given me a bow with arrows. That bow has to be taken out today for the purpose of killing Ram and Lakshman. He says, my dear child, Indrajit is no more. He played a trick on the Vanaras, and he created an illusory Sita, and he showed that Sita was severed on the chariot. But that was only an illusion. But today, in my the anger that I have has no bounds. I'm going to make that hoax into a reality. I will kill that Sita truly today, who's so devoted to Lord Ram. She is the one who's the cause of everything. I'm going to go and kill her today. She is the one of because of whom Lanka is suffering, I am suffering, and this entire demoniac race is suffering. So swiftly, this Ravan, who is, Krodhat Bhavati Samoha, Samohat Smriti Vibramaha, right? Smriti Bhramshat, Buddhi Nashat Pranashyati. Extreme anger. Why is this war happening? This entire war is happening because he can get Sita. That is his intention. But now he's so afflicted that he wants to even kill that Sita. So he immediately drew that sword, and he took his bow, and he decided that he will go and first kill Sita. That was his first aim. So, with a sword in his hand, he went towards Ashoka garden, and Sita, from a distance, she's seeing Ravan is rushing towards her, holding that sword, and she begins to lament. She's thinking within herself, hey, what is this? This fellow's coming towards me with so much anger, raising a sword. It looks like this ill-minded demon is going to kill me today itself. Or maybe the two brothers, Ram and Lakshman, are already killed, and that's why he's coming to kill me. Oh, because of me, Ram and Lakshman might have died. Or maybe Ravana is very frustrated that he's not able to kill Ram and Lakshman, and his son is dead. So he's coming to kill me. And she starts lamenting, I wish I had listened to Hanuman. Hanuman told me that day itself that sit on my back, I will take you. I should have listened to him. I shouldn't have argued with him and told him only my husband should come and take me. What is this now? Now I am also going to be killed, and I don't know if Ram and Lakshman are surviving. The heart of that Kausalya will burst. She had only one son. What if he is gone now? She will be devastated. And everything is because of this mantra. So Sita Devi is also lamenting, all because of this mantra, and because of her, Kausalya Devi is suffering. So, like this, Sita was lamenting as Ravan, with his huge body, he was going with anger, holding a sword to kill her. But at that time, there was one particular demon in that vicinity who went and stopped Ravan. His name was Supashva. Supashva. Yeah, he was very Suparshva. It was very easy, pleasant to go near. So Suparshva, he was very good natured. He was very good natured. He was straightforward, and also he was extremely intelligent. So he went and told Ravan, "Oh Ravan, you are actually the younger brother of Kuvera, and you are born in the lineage of Pulatsya Rishi. So how are you trying to kill a woman? It's not appropriate for you. It's not decent of you to go and kill a woman, that too in a bout of anger. You've not even thought about it just because you're very angry. Sometimes, when we are very angry, we just don't know how we are reacting. We just start reacting and we are ready to finish off everything that comes in front of us. So, why you use your intelligence? Why is that anger taking over you? You are a person who's well versed in the Vedas. What is the Shastras telling you? You have 10 heads, you're a learned Pandita. But then how are you acting? You're trying to go and kill a woman. Leave that woman and give up your anger. Tomorrow, like a hero, like a Kshatriya, go in the warfare. Go to the battlefield, take the best of your chariots, the best of your bows and your weapons, and then kill Rama. What is the use of killing this Sita? So, like that, he goes and he stops him, and Ravan's anger is slowly dissipated. And he thinks this is actually the right advice. It's a shame if I go and kill a woman who's sitting without any weapons, in the middle of a garden. That is not good of me. So, he thinks it's an appropriate advice, and he goes back to his palace. And then he goes that day evening, and then he starts creating a chapter plan, how to deal with Ram, and he decides that Ram must be killed the next day. So, as per Ravan's command, immediately what he decides is he wants to first send the Moola Balasena. This was a particular army that it was he had always had in his kingdom, and they were used for emergency purposes. Moola Balasena, and it's called as the root army. Okay, they are the root of Lanka. He had not released that army still, so he thought this is the time to release the Moola Balasena. So all the demons, all the Moola Balasena were dispatched, and all these demons, they went to the battlefield and they started attacking the Vanaras with their various weapons. And the demons, when they saw, demons, they entered the battlefield and they started attacking the Vanaras. The Vanaras ran and they took shelter of Ram because they were not able to handle this Moola Sena. They got very scared. And that is when Ram said, "It's okay, I will do it myself." He asked everyone to go. Just like how Ram single handedly handled the 14,000 soldiers in Jarasthan, Karadoshana, and Trishira's. There are 14,000 demons. Single handedly, he told Lakshman and Sita to go on top of the mountain cave and sit there. And he said, "I will do it myself." Similarly, now this Moola Balasena were lakhs of demons, actually, they were in lakhs. So they all came, and Ramchandra told the Vanaras that you all just sit back, move away from here. I will single handedly kill everybody. And the great fight between Ram and the Moola Sena, as mentioned, it's a fantastic fight because Ram was moving at the speed of wind and he was shooting out so many arrows, and he was so quick that he was almost invisible. Just like you cannot see the wind, but you can see the effect of the wind. Similarly, nobody could spot Ram, but they could see the effect of Ram's arrows. They could see that the army was torn and pierced with arrows. They were all broken down and they were tormented by various kinds of weapons. They could not see Ram because Ram was so swift and he was moving around like this, like the wind. They could not see Ram, who was hitting their bodies, just like how living beings beings are not able to see their individual souls resting in the body. So this is a very beautiful analogy given by Valmiki. Valmiki says how they could not see Ram, just like how we living entities, we are not able to see, have self-realization. The soul is there, but we are thinking we are the body. The soul is invisibly present. You're not able to identify the soul, right? So like that, the super soul was right there and he was fighting and nobody could see him because he was so swift. So the demons, they were screaming. Some of them were like, ah, Ram is here. Ah, Ram is there. Like that, they were screaming, but they were not able to see because 1 second, by the time they see Ram's elsewhere. So like that, he was destroying everybody. And remember, all these people were on chariots. They were all chariot warriors, Maharathis. And Ram was just like wind going like that and smashing down everybody. And some of the foot soldiers were thinking, hey, here is Ram, and he just hit an arrow. And next second, a charioteer is falling off. So it was so quick. And they were all trying to identify where Ram is. And they were also trying to shoot arrows, but it was all going in vain. They just couldn't identify where he was. And actually, Ramchandra was using the Gandharvastra and he was bewildering everybody. This is the effect of the Gandharvastra. It can bewilder people. You might think that you are here, next minute you are elsewhere. So, like that, initially they were not even able to see Ram because he was like the wind. And then the next, after a few minutes, what happened was the demons were seeing thousands of Ram in the battlefield after the Gandharvastra was employed. So initially he was very swift. Then he employed the Gandharvastra and they were seeing hundreds and thousands of Ram everywhere because again of his swiftness. Uh, this is also mentioned in the war with Karadoshana and Trishiras. There was one Ram, but everybody was seeing Ram everywhere. So it was appearing like hundreds and thousands of Rams were there. So the same thing happened here. The demons, on their part, they saw thousands of Ram in the battlefield, and sometimes they saw only one Ram in the battlefield because he was so swift. Sometimes he was invisible, sometimes it was appearing that he is everywhere. And then many of them they saw this Ram in the form of Sudarshan Chakra, the great discus that is killing the demons on the battlefield. That is how they were seeing him. It was so swift, just like when the chakra comes, right? It is so brilliant and shining, and it's just like a flash of light that goes. So, like that, they were seeing Ram. So, these three analogies are given in this particular section. Attack on the Mola Balasena. Sometimes they saw him invisible, sometimes they saw him everywhere. They saw hundreds and thousands of Rams, and sometimes they saw him like the swift Sudarshan Chakra. So, in a matter of 3 hours, again, very similar to the attack on Karadoshana, the demons. We see it was a very short time. In a matter of 3 hours, with his arrows looking like tongues of flame, Ramachandra, he killed an army of demons. And these are not any ordinary demons. This is Moola Balasena. And not only that, they have the capability of changing their form at will. Even before they thought they will change their form, Ram had killed them. That was the swiftness of Ram. He had killed 10,000 chariots, 18,000 strong elephants, 14,000 horses, and 2 lakhs of demons on fighting on the foot. So you can imagine how many people this Mulabala Sena had. And this was his secret Sena, okay? He would not release the Sena easily. And he released them, and each of them, each of these lakhs of demons had the capability of changing their form at will. And still, Ramachandra was so swift that even before they thought they could do something, they were gone. That second, they were gone. So, like this, everybody was killed and wiped out by one single Lord. And all the demigods in the sky, they were all crying out, Jai Shri Ram, just like how they all cried out when Indrajit was killed by Lakshman. So many demons were killed, and of course, many of them were severely hurt, and they were completely not capable of doing anything. And seeing this massacre on the battlefield, all the female demons, they came running to the battlefield because all their husbands were gone. And all the female demons, they were lamenting over the death of their husband. And what did they do? They all rebuked Shurpanaka. Why? Because they all felt Shurpanaka was the prime cause for Sita coming to Lanka. Ravan, he brought Sita forcibly, all because of Shurpanaka's enticement. So they complained about Shurpanaka, how this ugly faced demoness, she had no virtue. She dared to approach Ram, who's full of virtues and who has bodily strength and a charming face. But it's our ill luck, the ill luck of the people in Lanka, this Karadushan and Shurpanaka. They have been very, very arrogant to Ram, and all because of them we are suffering today. And they all lament and beat their chest and they say this Ravan can never obtain Sita, who's the daughter of Janaka, and he's going to be killed because he has created this terrible enmity with Ram. Ram killed 14,000 demons. He killed even Kabanda. Ram killed mighty Vali, who's the son of Indra, and he's killed so many people. This itself should have opened the eyes of Ravan. This is sufficient for Ravan to understand the strength of Ram. But still, Ravan did not give back Sita to Ram. And this is the result of such a terrible act. They all felt very sad that Ravan, though he was given so much advice by great advisors like Vibhishan and his own mother and uncle, but still Ravan did not listen to anyone. So, like this, they started blaming Shurpanaka, they blamed Karadoshan, they blamed even Ravan for their misfortune. And they were thinking that Vibhishan was very wise. At the right time, he left the Lanka and he went and took shelter of Ram. He's the most intelligent one. They were lamenting, saying this Ravan is not going to learn his lesson. Even after his dear brother Kumbhakarna died in the hands of Ram, he's thinking he will conquer Ram. Kumbhakarna died. Next, his son Indrajit also died. Indrajit was practically invincible. Now, Indrajit was also killed by Lakshman. And still, this fellow thinks he's going to win. And they think about all the bad omens that Lanka was seeing. And all these omens were simply predicting the annihilation of Ravan. And they also recollect an instance of demigods praying to Lord Shiva in the past and getting a boon that a woman Sita will be born and she will be the cause of the destruction of the demons. So here say they had heard this, that many demigods had prayed to Lord Shiva also in the past, and Shiva gave them a boon that a woman will be the cause of Lanka's destruction and the king of Lanka's destruction. So, like this, they were all lamenting, and then the female demons, they were embracing each other in their arms and they were trying to vent out their grief, and they lamented and they wept tremendously, very, very severely. Ravan, he came and he saw so many female demonesses were lamenting and beating their chests and embracing the bodies of their dead relatives, and he was filled with grief. He was enraged and he told all his generals that whoever is remaining, we all must go to the battle. We have to take revenge. Ravan at this time he promises them that he will take revenge by killing Ram and Lakshman and all the Vanara chiefs in the battle. So accompanied by several demon warriors, now Ravan he marches to the battlefield where Ram and Lakshman were there. And while he was going towards the battlefield itself, again bad omens were seen, and these omens were very indicative that Ravan is soon going to die. So when Ravan was entering the battlefield, all the Vanaras, they could hear the noise of the chariots and they could understand that there is going to be a very, very big fight. So the Vanaras gathered, the demons gather headed by Ravan, and a great fight ensues between the Vanaras and the demons. So Ravan, he fights very fiercely with all the Vanaras. He destroys many, many Vanaras, and then he tries to approach Ram so that he can directly face Ram and fight with him. Meanwhile, Sugriva, along with some of the Vanaras, he goes and he attacks the chief of all the demons and the chiefs of the demons, and he destroys them. Virupaksha, who's a demon, he comes and he attacks Sugriva. Sugriva brings down a violent slap on the temple bone of Virupaksha and kills him. Mahodara creates havoc by cutting off the hands and feet and thighs of some Vanaras. And these Vanaras, they seek refuge in Sugriva. and some of them even run away for their lives. And then Sugriva, he attacks Mahodara. First, he kills all the horses of Mahodara, and then he ensures that his hand is broken. And then they start wrestling with each other. And finally, Sugriva cuts off Mahodara's head with a huge sword. That is the sword that was lying there itself. He takes and he cuts it off. And then Mahapashva enters the battlefield and he torments the Vanaras, and Angada, he comes to their rescue. And Jambavan also enters the battlefield and he breaks the chariot and horses of Mahapashva. Angada knocks down the bow and the helmet of Mahapashva. They fall down. After Mahapashva falls dead, this Ravan gets very, very agitated. Seeing that Mahodara and Mahapashva have been killed, Virupaksha comes, and there is another big battle that happens between Virupaksha and all the Vanaras. And finally, Ravan, he gets very upset that one by one, everybody is getting killed. And he tells his charioteer that we have to go there. We have to go and face Ram and Lakshman face to face. I will surely kill them today. I will remove all the sorrow that these two princes have created in my heart. I will cut down this huge tree by the name Ram that is yielding fruits through its flowers in the form of Sita, and whose principal branches are Sugriva, Jambavan, Kumuda, Nala, Dvivida, Mainda, Angada, Gandamadana, Hanuman, Sushena, Neela, and all these Mamala chiefs. I am going to cut down that tree. So Ravan, he goes there into the battlefield and he employs a very, very terrific and frightful missile that is called as Tamasa. Tamasa means ignorance, right? And once he shoots the Tamasastra, everyone gets consumed by the Tamasastra and all the Vanaras start falling. There was so much dust that was flying up from earth, like everything became black. The Vanaras were getting frustrated. They were fleeing here and there, and seeing that hundreds and thousands of Vanaras were fleeing because of the arrows that were shot by Ravan, this Tamasastra, Ram took his stand and he got ready for the battle. So Ravan finally, after he dissipated all the Vanaras because of the thick dust and all that that was created by the Tamasastra, Ravan finally saw Ram. Ram, he is described to be very, very beautiful. Valmiki takes some time to describe the beauty of Ram. How did Ravan see Ram? Ram was endowed with long arms. His eyes were like lotus petals. He was standing unconquered with his brother Lakshmana. This is the description of Ram. Ramchandra was looking so beautiful. And finally, Ravan saw him again face to face. He's seen him earlier also, but now he saw this beautiful form of Ram face to face. And Ram, seeing Ravan, he began to stretch his bow. And due to the buzzing sound that is produced by Ravana's arrows and the twang of Ram's bows, all the demons fell down in hundreds. That is, it's going to be a big war. Ravan was shooting multiple arrows and Ram was stretching his bow. And this sound itself was sufficient for hundreds and thousands of demons to fall down. So, like this, when he was getting ready, at that moment, Lakshman, he comes and he desires to fight with Ravan. So Lakshman, he also comes, he pulls up his arrows and he requests his brother, and he desires to fight with Ravan, and he stretches his bow and he wants to shoot some arrows towards Ravan. So, like this, when Lakshman started to shoot some arrows towards Ravan, at that time, Ravan, he prevented these arrows in a single moment. Uh, so, in the sky itself, these arrows were nullified by Ravan. And Ravan, he split all the arrows of Lakshman. How one arrow with one, three with three, 10 with 10. So, like this, he was overpassing Lakshman. So Lakshman, see, Ramchandra is coming, Lakshman is coming. They are about to face each other. Ramachandra is pulling the bow, and then Lakshman comes running because wherever his brother is, he wants to go and first give protection and stop any attack on his brother. So he goes and he starts shooting arrows with one. Before the arrow can reach Ravan itself, Ravan is so dexterous that with one arrow he shot another arrow and it is gone. Two arrows means two arrows are shot and again it is gone. 10 arrows come from Ravan and it is gone. So like that, it was going on, and Ravan's concentration was actually on Ram. He wanted to leave this Lakshman away. You go, you go. So like that, he was trying to surpass Lakshman, and finally he went and he approached Ram, who was standing like another mountain in the battlefield. So now this was face to face, Ravan and Ram. Now, seeing Ravan, he had red hot eyes and he started releasing a stream of arrows on Ram. And just on seeing the stream of arrows that were coming towards him, he Rama quickly catches hold of that balla weapon. There is this particular arrow called as balla, and he starts releasing it. It has a crescent shaped head. And Ram, he tore off all the multitude of arrows that were coming from Ravan by using these balla arrows. And Ram on Ravan and Ravan on Ram, like this, they were just fighting. They were showering each other with multiple streams of arrows of various kinds. And it appeared that the sky had become dense with arrows of various kinds. They were shooting continuously. And even as it is just like how clouds are covered in the monsoon season, they cover the sky like that. This arrows were covering the entire sky. So many arrows were shot, and it was a very complex battle actually that happened between Ram and Ravan, and both of them were trying to kill each other. And it was unimaginable. It was like the battle that had happened between the demon Vritrasura and Indra. And Ravan, he was continuously shooting arrows, and at one point, Ravan, very skillfully, he released a row of steel arrows on Ram's forehead. And Ramachandra, on the other hand, he releases the Rudrastra. Okay. So when these steel arrows were coming towards him, Ramachandra, he releases what is called as the Rudrastra. And it fell on the unbreakable armor of Ravan, which was as large as a cloud. And even though Ram had shot the Rudrastra, nothing happened to Ram. Ravan was so powerful. That was the power of Ram. It just struck his armor and nothing happened to him. And now Ram releases 5 arrows, like that has the head of serpents. And Ravana, he released what is called as the Asurastra. And this Asurastra, how it works is when you shoot those arrows, he also shot 5 Asurastras. Ram, he shot 5 arrows that has the head of serpents. And our Ravan, he shot 5 Asurastras. And these 5 Asurastras, they have heads of lions, tigers, crows, and vultures, and falcons and jackals, and so on. So multiple animal-headed arrows were shot. That is called as Asurastra. They had heads of donkeys sometimes heads of boars, dogs, cocks, alligators, snakes, and so on. So like this, all these different astras, they started coming with their mouth wide open, attacking Ram. And then Ram then employed different kinds of arrows that were as bright as fire, like the sun, like the moon, and other shining planets. Some like Mercury, some like Venus, and so on. And some were like meteors, and some were like lightnings to counteract these arrows. And some of these arrows, they went and hit Ravan. Actually, some of these meteoric arrows or planetary arrows, they went and hit Ravan. And Ravan, again, he started releasing arrows this time, but the kind of arrows that he released was the terrific missile that was built by Mayadanava. Mayadanava is the father-in-law of Ravan. Okay, he's not any faraway person. He's a father-in-law. He's Mandodari's father, Mayadanava. So Mayadanava had awarded him so many things at the time of marriage. So this is a very cruel and terrific missile that was built by Mayadanava. And how was it? From his bow came forth blazing pikes, maces, and clubs that were very hard and strong. But however, our Ram, he struck all that missile of Mayadanava with the Gandharvastra. He had the Gandharvastra and he started destroying it with Gandharvastra. Then Ravan got very angry. His eyes were coppery. He employed a missile that was given by the sun god. And Ram was, he's a descendant of the sun god's dynasty itself, right? Employed a missile that was presided over the sun god, and seeing that missile, Ram struck it down very easily with 10 arrows. He just struck it down, and he actually struck it down, and then these arrows went and hit Ravana in his vital parts. So even though Ravan was struck, uh, Ravan had shot so many arrows. Ravan again shot some more arrows and struck Ram down. And though Ram was struck by multiple arrows that were coming in force from Ravan, he was not shaken. There was this fight that went on for a while. I'm not giving to, actually, it looks like I'm giving too many details, but actually there's more details in the Ramayana. I'm trying to limit the details. So again, they start fighting with each other. More and more arrows are struck on each other. And at one point, Ravan's arrows struck Ramachandra so much that many of his organs were pierced by the multiple arrows from Ravan. Okay, so it was a little delicate moment now. Ram was really affected by many arrows. So at that time, Lakshman, seeing the situation, he got very, very angry and he went to protect his brother. He caught hold of 7 arrows, and with those 7 arrows, he tore off the flag staff of Ravan, the flag on the chariot of Ravan. And you know what Ravan's flag consisted of? We all know generally when we talk about Vishnu's chariot. Vishnu's chariot has Garuda. In the war, Arjun's chariot had Hanuman. Now, what does Ravan's chariot flag have? It bears the emblem of a man's head. So gruesome. Okay, so it bears the head, chopped head of a man. That is the emblem that he has. And so anyhow, he cut off the flag, and then with another arrow, Lakshman, with a single arrow, he tore the head of Ravan's charioteer. And with 5 sharp arrows, Lakshman chopped off Ravana's bow, which looked like an elephant's trunk. So this was a great feat that was done by Lakshman. And then Vibhishan saw that his dear friend Lakshman is taking so much effort. So he also bounces in, and then he takes hold of his mace and he starts killing the horses of Ravan. The horses of Ravan were like black clouds and they were as tall as mountains. He started striking all of them. And Ravan, he saw that his brother was actually striking the horses, and he got very, very angry and he jumped down with great anger looking at his brother. Then Ravan, he hurls a spear at Vibhishan. That is like a thunderbolt. And even before the spear had reached Vibhishan, our dear Lakshman, who cannot see the devotees tormented, Lakshman tore it with 3 of his arrows, and a cloud of cheer then arose from the Vanaras in the battlefield. He immediately went to the rescue of Vibhishan. And that spear that was thrown, it tore into pieces and it fell down like a meteor that falls off from the sky. Then Ravan, he takes hold of another spear, which was very, very difficult to even be approached by Yamaraj. And then he hurled it. He started hurling it. And meanwhile, Lakshman, he quickly rushed towards Vibhishan, because it was actually aimed at Vibhishan. And he took his bow, Lakshman, and he started shooting arrows at Ravan, because Ravan was continuously trying to torment Vibhishan. And seeing that this Vibhishan was rescued by Lakshman again and again, Ravan, he looks at Lakshman and he tells him, Lakshmana, this Vibhishan is rescued by you again and again. And now I will hurl a spear at you and I will kill you. So this spear, this is meant for you. You're simply protecting that Vibhishan. Now see, now first I will attack you. I will throw this spear at you and it will take out your life. So Ravan, he roars and he hurls a spear towards Lakshman. And that spear was adorned with 8 loudly ringing bells, which had been designed by Mayadanava by his magical capabilities, and it was capable of completely destroying the enemy. This was a special spear with adorned with bells. So it was ringing, like that was ringing, and it was coming towards Lakshman. And it fell with with great speed on Lakshman in the battlefront. And while that spear was coming towards Lakshman, Ram started uttering words. Just like how when Indrajit was killed, Lakshmana, he uttered words saying that if my Ramachandra as the follower of Dharma, then let this arrow go and kill Indrajit. Like that, Ramachandra was now uttering, "Hey, spear, may your effort be frustrated. Your effort will be frustrated. You will become useless." So Ram kept uttering to the spear, "May you prove useless. May your effort get frustrated." But then that spear entered the chest of Lakshman and it went very deeply. It pierced through his heart and Lakshmana fell to the ground. So look at Lakshman's sacrifice. He was trying to protect Vibhishan, he was trying to protect Ram. That was his mood. He was running around trying to see if his dear brother was harmed or his dear devotees were harmed. But seeing Lakshmana had fallen in that state, Ramchandra is not going to keep quiet. Even earlier, also, when during the earlier time, when the first time when Ram and Ravan had faced each other, that time Ram was on the back of Hanuman, and Ravana started shooting arrows at Hanuman. That made Ram angry. When his devotee is harmed, he will not keep quiet. He got very angry and he started shooting so many arrows at Ravan, and Ravan fell down and he said, "Go today and come tomorrow." Right? When did he do that? When did Ram go to the peak of his anger? When his devotee was hurt. Similarly, now Lakshman was in the state and Ram, he became so upset. His heart was torn into pieces and his eyes were filled with tears. And he felt that he got so angry actually towards Ravan. And Ram, he decided that I will now start a very fierce battle with this Ravan. And he looked at his brother on one side. He was saying that his brother was struck with a spear. It had penetrated through his body. It had touched the earth. And all the Vanaras were crowding around him, trying to remove the spear from the body. But then, when the Vanaras were trying to help out Lakshman, trying to remove that spear from his body, there were so many demons who were striking arrows on the Vanaras. And it was such a terrible scene. And Ram, he just moved that, he cleared that crowd and he went to Lakshman. He took out the spear from Lakshman's body. He drew it out from his body and he angrily broke it. And then he saw that this Ravan was constantly throwing arrows at him. All the arrows from Ravan was coming and striking his limbs. So he was ignoring those arrows that were coming from Ravan. At one point, he was very angry. He was waiting to kill this Ravan. At another point, he was thinking, "Oh, my dear brother has fallen to the earth. First, he has to be rescued." So he removes out the spear, and constantly, when he's trying to help his brother, also, continuous arrows were falling on him. And he was simply ignoring those arrows and he was embracing Lakshman. And then Ram told Hanuman and Sugriva, "O chief of the Vanaras, just guard Lakshman, just encompass him. Go, just stand around him and protect him. And this Ravan has to be killed. It appears that his time is nearing." So he says, "I take this vow in truth in front of you." He tells all the Vanaras, "This is the vow that I take. At this moment, O Vanaras, very soon you will see the world devoid of either Ravan or Ram. So either one of us is going to die very soon." He says, "I've had many losses in my life. I was dwelling in the forest of Dandakaranya. I was wandering in the woods. I had faced so many demons, and this demon, they even took away my Sita. And so many terrible sufferings and agony I had to undergo. Today, I will kill this Ravan and I will relieve myself from that agony. That sinful demon for whose sake this army of Vanaras has been brought by me, Sugriv has been anointed on the throne after killing Vali, for whose sake I've crossed this ocean, built a bridge. He is now within my range of sight in the battlefield. Vanaras, this Ravan, he might be very, very difficult to conquer. But then you all take your seats, witness the fight, the great battle between myself and Ravan. Let the three worlds, Bhu, Bhuvar, Swargaloka, including the Gandharvas and demigods and sages, today see the valor of this Ram. I will perform a great feat by which people in this world, including all the living entities who are Svara and Jangama, that means the people moving and the immovables, all of them, and even the demigods, all of them, let them describe this battle in the future. He says, speaking like this, Ram, with a very, very attentive mind in the battlefield, he strikes Ravan with sharp arrows that are pure gold. And Ravan, he starts streaming forth a blazing steel arrow. And then he throws iron clubs. So, like this, the audience was watching, and it was a terrible, terrible battle. Ram tore apart all the arrows of Ravan and had almost destroyed him at this point in time. And Ravan had no knowledge what to do. And Ravan took to his heels out of fear and ran out of the battlefield, just like how a cloud is pushed off by a terrible storm. This was the anger that Ram had. He shot so many arrows and he was so angry that Ravana didn't know what to do and he ran away. He simply ran away. The first time when Ravan and Ram they had an encounter, and when Ravan was about to lose, at that time what did Ram do? Ram gave him a chance and told him, "You please go, take good rest, Ashvasa karo, or come back tomorrow." But the second encounter, he simply ran away. Even before Ram gave him a chance, it was so terrible that he just ran away. And here, Bhakticharu Maharaj, I had taken down those notes earlier, so I just put it on the slide as well. Bhakticharu Maharaj had explained materially Ravan looked very powerful, but we see that the Supreme Lord is the most powerful. So we also must never give up taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. So everyone, we should just take shelter of the Lord. Yes, Ravan was very, very powerful. He was able to conquer the demigods and Nagas and all these different living beings. But then the Lord can come in the form of a human being and he can conquer the worst of the demons. So we should know whom to take shelter of. At the end of the day, all this power that demoniac people have, it will all be gone into oblivion. In the Treta Yuga, Ravan was the most powerful. He had conquered all the worlds, but he was defeated by Ram and the Vanaras. In the Kali Yuga, there are different kind of demoniac forces. But when we hear Lord Ramachandra's pastimes like these, we get the courage and confidence to take inspiration from him and face these forces. So even in the age of Kali, we will have these demoniac forces that are continuously trying to torment us and destroy us. But then we should take courage and face taking shelter of Lord Ram. If we stand with Krishna, if we stand with Ramachandra, we have nothing to fear. Everything will pass, everything will become fine. Okay? Finally, we will win. We don't know when, but a person, a devotee who has taken shelter of the Lord will never give up on them. These are his words. Anyway, this guy ran away. Okay, our Ravan, he runs away. The war was total for 7 days. Again, there is another attack between Ravan and Ram that we will see. Final day also we will see soon. It's not yet the final day. Anyway, Ramachandra, he laments over the uncertainty of Lakshman, and Ram said, "My limbs are like sinking down. I have so much tension that is growing in me now. I don't know if my dear brother is going to survive. I feel like dying seeing Lakshman in this condition." And he calls Sushena again, who's our Vanara physician. And Sushena, he tests Lakshman and he says, "Yeah, Lakshman is still alive. There is breathing that is happening in his nose. But then I cannot cure him right now. I definitely need Hanuman to go again all the way to the Himalayas and bring back Aushadagiri because only in Aushadagiri we can actually bring the herbs, and only with the herbs we can cure Lakshman at this point. So again, Hanuman is sent to bring back the 4 herbs. What are the 4 herbs? Vishalyakarni, Suvarnakarni, Sanjeevakarni, and Sandhanakarni. So Hanuman, he leaps off, and the same process. Remember, earlier when Hanuman brought the Aushadagiri, he was a responsible citizen. That's what we saw. He went and placed it back in that place. But now again, the need was there. So again, he had to fly all the way. And of course, our Hanuman, he doesn't have enough knowledge of botany. So he was not able to figure out what these herbs were. So he violently shakes the mountain 3 times. He rips off the mountain peak and he takes it. He flies all the way and he comes to Lanka. And everyone was very surprised. Everyone was very surprised to see how Hanuman was constantly doing this difficult task. This was the second time he was doing it. And then Sushena, he figured out what it was. He's the doctor. So he figured out these herbs. He crushed the correct herbs and he administered it through Lakshman's nose. Last time, what happened? When the herbs were coming itself, when the mountain was coming, in the air itself, everybody was waking up. Everybody was reviving. But this time, Lakshman was terribly wounded. That was not sufficient. Just that fragrance from the air was not sufficient for him to wake up. It had to be administered through his nose. And nose drops were given for him. And finally, he regained his consciousness. So he not only regains his consciousness, but he also regains his strength and his vitality after this. So after getting treated by this herbs, by Sushena, Ramchandra becomes very, very happy and he calls to Lakshman and he tells Lakshmana, come here. And he embraces him with great affection. His eyes is filled with tears of joy and love. And he says, today I consider myself very fortunate because you are revived from death. What is the use of anything to me in this world without your existence? Nothing is of any value if I don't have you beside me. Then Lakshman tells his brother, that's all fine. Yes, I'm fine now. But you have taken a vow. Ramchandra keeps postponing things, right? He could have killed Ravan on day 1 itself. He simply gives him chance. You go and come tomorrow, all this. Why all this? Right? So Lakshman says, you have taken a vow. You keep up your vow. Keep up your promise. You said you want to kill Ravan. Kill that Ravan, na? Simply you're just letting him go all the time. If you really wish to perform your promise and if you feel affectionate towards Sita, please kill that Ravan quickly. So now Ravan, he was not there. He ran away. So he went back to the city and then he came back in a new chariot, fully energized, so that he can face Ram again in the battlefield. And Ram, he saw that this Ravan had come and he started shooting arrows at him. And then Ravana, he started rushing towards Ram. They showered arrows at each other. And again, it was when they were just showering arrows at each other. This Ravan was on a brand new chariot, and Ramchandra was on the ground, and it was not a fair battle, right? Everybody knows it was not a fair battle. It was a battle between this. Of course, he's a supreme lord, but he's in a human form, and a battle between magical rakshasas. So all the Gandharvas, Kinnaras, Apsaras, all of them in the sky, they were complaining, saying that this is not a fair battle. So they are thinking this, our Lord is standing on the ground and this Ravan is on a chariot. So they were just talking in the sky, they were complaining. And hearing this complaints, Indra, who's the king of all the demigods, he called out to his great charioteer by the name Matali. He calls out to Matali and he tells Matali, you go with my chariot to Ram who's standing on north. So now Matali is going to come with his chariot. So after reaching the earth, Matali comes with his great chariot that is yoked with green horses. Remember this scene? Indra's green horses, it was there even earlier also when Ramchandra was in the forest and he met many sages, Sharabhanga and others. At that time, he saw Indra's chariot with green horses. So the same chariot with the green horses with Matali now descended on earth. So this was the glorious, excellent chariot of Indra. It was completely decked in gold. It was fitted with hundreds of tiny bells. The pole had cat eye gems. It was yoked to green horses. It had white whisks covered with nests of gold shining like the sun, bearing the staff of a bamboo, golden bamboo, not ordinary bamboo. So, sitting on the chariot, Matali, he approaches Ram, and he had a whip in his hand. And with the joined palms, he went and introduced himself to Ram. He goes and tells Ram, "My dear Ram, Indra has sent this chariot to you for your victory. Here is a great bow that belongs to Indra. There is an armor that is shining like fire. There are some arrows that is as bright as the sun, and an auspicious spear." If you rewind your memory, in the beginning itself, the demigods, they had a meeting in the sky and they pleaded to Lord Vishnu to go and take care of Ravan. And they said that we all will come and assist you, right? Indra, finally, he keeps up his promise. In between, Indra, he had slipped away a little bit. How? Because in his Amsha, he was present as Vali and he was trying to attack the Lord himself. But then he was chastised by the Lord and he was killed. And now Indra was back to his senses. He understood the need at this point in time. So he had sent the great chariot with Matali for the victory of Lord Ram. Matali said, "O heroic Lord Ram, mount on this chariot with me as the charioteer and let us go and kill Ravana." Some of the commentators say that this was the first time Indra's chariot went in the forward direction because all the time Indra is known to run away from battlefield. Matali never knew to put the gear in the forward direction, always reverse gear only for him. But now that Ram is going to sit on the chariot, it is always forward gear. So anyway, Ram, he smiled, he accepted the offer as a part of his Leela. He circumambulated the chariot, he accepted this as a mark of respect. He thought, oh, Indra himself has sent the charioteer. He offered the obeisances to the chariot. And then he ascended the chariot for the pleasure of the three worlds. And now we are going to see the thrilling battle between Ram and Ravan. That will be next class. Okay. Haribol. Any questions, comments, realizations? Okay, thank you, Rachna Mataji. Okay, so then we can end here and we can meet tomorrow, not tomorrow, next week, with a great battle between Ram and Ravan. The final day of the battle will be covered. Not tomorrow, next week. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। नंदकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।